In the legal world, there is a combination of forces that feed a corrupt and suffocating legal system for attorneys. Law schools, law professionals, judges, and even the firms themselves for whom you work create a system, a matrix, if you will, that is nothing like what you thought when you passed the bar exam. The purpose of this podcast is to help you escape this legal matrix, leading you out of the proverbial desert to be free of the bondage of the matrix. Hosted by Bryce D. Nyer, attorney at law with over 30 years experience in the trenches of civil and criminal litigation at the state, federal, and international levels. He's a highly accomplished and resourceful legal professional, a true master of his craft, and he's here to help you get your life back. Here's your host, Bryce D. Nyer.
All right. This is Bryce D. Nyer coming at you live from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of Fort Bragg. In the house with us tonight is Drake, our Labrador Retriever, our law firm mascot, and just little moi. Let me tell you what we're going to talk about tonight, and I think you're going to identify with this topic of what I'm going to title tonight, Disconnected and Done, D-O-N-E. Okay, so let's get started. So the world is in chaos. The world's in a mess. Our lives are probably in a mess. And I want to tell you how kind of I've been feeling, and you tell me if you've been feeling the same way too. So here's the deal. I feel disconnected from my profession. I feel disconnected from the world. I feel just completely disconnected with all of the stupidity that goes on in the world, with the delusion and the deception. And you get to a point where nothing feels the same. Nothing looks the same at all anymore. And you awaken to the truth. You start to see through your own stupidity, your own foolishness, your own delusion, your own deception, and you begin to just get tired of being around it and tired of being around others that operate with this defunct operating system within their brains and their hearts and their souls and all of that. And in these four domains of body, of being, of balance, and business, you start to see the insanity of everything. And you wake up and you look in the mirror and you say, what am I doing with my life? What am I selling? What am I doing? And when you really just sit down and think about it, when you start to really understand the truth versus the lies and the delusion and deception, it's an awakening. It really is. And I've just come to this point now, this crossroads, and it's been going on for a while, and it's really getting more intense, as you can feel this tension in the world, this tension in the air. And it's not the left versus the right and the Democrats and the Republicans. It really is. It's good versus evil. It's God versus Satan. It is. That's what's going on. Now, people can laugh at it and people can mock at it, but you can't tell me that you don't feel something is going on that you can't understand, and you can feel the tension. You can feel something's, there's a storm coming. And you may run from it, you may hide from it, but you can't. Because you awaken during the night or during the day, there's just something internally existing inside you, inside this physical body of bone, blood, and flesh, that is knocking on your heart, knocking on your head and saying, hey, wake up. Wake up. And that is what has happened to me over the last couple of years, and especially the last year and the last couple of weeks. I just become disconnected with worldly things. For example, I don't find going to the movies enjoyable. I haven't found it like that for years. I don't find TV enjoyable. It's just garbage and crap and DEI and PC and all this delusion, insanity. I don't even watch TV. I might watch a movie once in a while or a documentary, and the music. The music it doesn't resonate with me. Independent artists do something that may be new, and I thought, well, maybe it's just all the same thing. Auto-tune and everything else and AI, and you just don't know what's real anymore. And I feel that the world it's become so artificial. It's just people, millions and millions, maybe billions, just worshiping idols and worshiping things and people that aren't going to be here. I mean, I've said this many times on these podcasts. Nobody on this planet today is leaving the earth alive. You're just not. And you're not taking anything with you. You're not taking the 401ks. You're not taking the IRAs. You're not taking your military, your state pensions. You're not taking the house, the beach place. You're not taking your brand new cars. It's not going with you. What's going with you is everything you did or failed to do in your life, or did or failed to say. And I don't know about you, but I'm telling you, I'm feeling this tension. I'm feeling this stirring inside me, this combat that's constantly going on. I sit here and I go into courtrooms, and I'm good at what I do. I'm a good litigator. I command a firm, but the passion, it's just not there. I walk into courthouses today, and I see my colleagues, and I swear they're like the Walking Dead. And most of them, they're disconnected and they're done. And some of them are afraid to admit it, but I can see it in their eyes. I can hear it in their voice. And sometimes some of us, we talk, and they just don't know what to do. They don't know how to escape the legal matrix. They get up, they drink their coffee, they run to their office, they're scrambling, they're trying to meet their clients, going to court in the morning, then trying to get back to get consults, get new retainers. And it's just this vicious cycle of where you're like, what the hell am I doing? And eventually, when you do awaken to the truth of what's going on in the world, what's going on in our own so-called profession, this legal profession, you know, you just like, you get to a point where you're like, I'm done. I'm just done. I'm done with the stupidity. I'm done with the foolishness. I'm done with the delusion. I'm done with the deception. Now, I'm sure that my brother from a different mother, Bryce Prescott, Media Automated, who is the producer of my podcast, will say, this is too negative what you're saying. You're being too Debbie Downer. I don't know. Maybe I am. I love that guy. He's funny as hell. He really is. He's a professional comedian, by the way, too. So if y'all haven't heard him, you need to. But I don't know. I mean, remember the term back in, I don't know, the 60s? Yeah, the 60s. Maybe you weren't alive then, but if you watch TV and you watch these old reruns and said, man, this is really heavy. You know, this is heavy, you know, from the hippies or peaceniks or whatever they were. I mean, I understand what it means now. You know, like it's heavy. You feel this burden, this weight that's on you, like this stone on your chest, this big rock, and you just want to get rid of it. You want to be disconnected from it and done. It's like for some of you in really bad marriages, or maybe your job sucks and your boss just sucks, and people around you are like, you know, you're like, I just can't people today. And especially in marriages that are falling apart, regardless of whose fault it is, some people are just like, I'm done. I'm disconnected, D-O-N-E. I mean, everything in life to me is almost like a marriage. You go into a law firm and you have law partners, or you own a company, no matter what the business is, okay? When you break away from it, when you're just done, and it's just like it's getting on your last nerve, and it just no longer brings you any fulfillment, you get disconnected. And you're like, I'm D-O-N-E, I'm done. D-O-N-E, done, exclamation 15 times. I don't care. But you're done. And you know what I'm talking about if I use the analogy of a marriage or a relation or dating relationship. You know, you have boyfriends or girlfriends, and you're like, man, I'm just done with this dude. I'm done with this chick. I'm done. They're on my last freaking nerve. Last nerve. And eventually you get disconnected. Well, that's kind of the way I feel about the legal profession. That's kind of the way I feel about the world. I'm like, I'm just sick of the rat race where the rats are winning. Because everybody's in this karma cul-de-sac of insanity. That's what they are. It's what we're in. And I try and warn you law students and you new lawyers, if you allow the legal matrix to consume your life, eventually you're going to get disconnected in the early young years. You're going to go through divorce. You know, you're going to pump out some puppies, and you're going to pay child support and go through all that kind of crap. Or eventually you're just going to so burned out, you'll be all boozed out or drugged out or depressed or whatever it is. And the thing that you got to learn is, you know what? You're going to have to disconnect from some people, and you're going to have to disconnect from some places where you work. And you're going to have to disconnect from some of the bad habits and the sins that you do. Because if you don't, you will be done. Thy will be done. What you wanted to do, hey, you got your way, free will, you got it. You be thy done. But there's a different types of done. There's a done and a disconnect that says, I'm going to draw the line in the sand today. I'm not going to deal with this crap anymore. I'm not going to deal with these people. I'm not going to deal with this profession. And I've just made emotionally and spiritually and mentally, I'm just done. I don't even care. I'm going to move forward with my life. And you're going to get to that point because people typically don't change until the pain is so intense that they can't stand it anymore. They'll put it off, they'll procrastinate. I did that for a long time in many things. In the legal field and in my marriages, I mean, the same thing. Because I lied to myself. I tried to stay connected to cancers in my life. To me. Now, some of the things were my fault. I'll admit that, without virtue signaling. So I did some really stupid things in my life, professionally and personally. We all do. And then there comes a point where you're like, what am I doing? And again, you see the truth and you start to unplug. You start to disconnect. And if you're fortunate enough, you're blessed enough, you'll realize it before you go into total self-destruct mode. Because that's what I see in the legal profession, this legal matrix. I am watching people. I'm watching their health. They're having strokes and heart attacks and suicides and alcoholism and drug addiction and porn addiction and affairs and everything. The legal profession is a direct reflection of everything that's wrong in society. The courtroom is a direct reflection and a mirror of everything that's wrong in society and the human race. It is. And I've said long ago, the reality is lawyers are just mercenaries for the most part. They're mercs. They're legal mercs. We're mercenaries for hire. And we're dealing with people that are connected to wrong things or wrong people. And you've got to learn to disconnect and be done. And I'm just telling you, I'm seeing this. I'm hearing this even on social media with professional speakers or people in certain businesses where there's like, it's not depression. It's just like, I'm done. It's just, I don't feel connected with this evil world. I mean, it's just, there's so much evil going on that it's like this dark cloud. I can tell the difference distinctively, the way I felt. I can remember how I felt when I was in college. And I got to tell you, I loved college. And it wasn't because I was partying and stuff. I wasn't partying all the time. I wasn't, but I loved it. There was just something about that time when the sky was out, the sky was blue, and I felt there was a future, and I felt really good about the way things were going. And then within the last 10 or 15 years, and especially the last 10 years, this feeling, this darkness that has just encompassed the world. And people that have seen the light, that have seen the truth, they're disconnecting. They don't want to associate with it. They don't want to run with it. It's just like Hollywood. I was never a big, fan of Hollywood anyway. I mean, I never had oh my God, I can't live without this person, this singer, this musician, this actor. I'll just die if they don't come. No, I never ever felt that way. I like to go to a good movie, once in a while, when they were good. Now, most of them are just crap. There used to be really good TV shows that could make you feel good. And of course, now you're finding out a lot of behind the scenes about actors and actresses and all their sins and weaknesses. I mean, they're human too. But you realize that there's dark and there's light. There's good and there's evil. And at some point, I'm telling you, you're going to wake up. And you're going to feel this total disconnect necessity, this need to be disconnected from the people and the things and the entities that are destroying you from within. And once you start to disconnect, so you've already said, I'm done. When you go into the done mode, the disconnect starts to go snap, 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 boom, 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 one right after another, like dominoes, man. And you can't stop them. When you're in that mode, when you're in that mindset of I am done dealing, no matter what it is or who it is with, you will disconnect. You will. And if you reconnect, it's going to be 10 times worse. Many times in my life, I have disconnected from toxic relationships and toxic situations. And sometimes, I've come back to it. I'm like, what am I doing? And once you are done and disconnect and you go back, you get warning signals, kind of like your security systems, or your fire alarms and the tones, and they're beeping and they're going off. They start beeping like the battery's low. Oh, I got to change the battery. And then when they go off, you're like, hey, man, well, there's smoke. There's a freaking fire. And usually in that situation, there is a fire. You just don't want to but you don't want to get burned by it. You don't want to get fried in it and consumed by it. I'm going through this right now myself. I'll be honest with you, as opposed to being dishonest with you. I know one of the leading people in one of the big organizations tell me, I hate when people say, if I'm being honest, they're like, he said, I'm going to slap you if you say it one more time, because, you're supposed to be honest, as opposed to, I should be dishonest. But anyway, if you live in truth, if you operate in truth, you're going to see and you're going to feel this tension in your soul. And I firmly believe this, that this is God. We're down at the 20-yard line. We're down at the 20-yard line. And God is sending out a signal saying, look, there's a storm coming. You need to disconnect, and you need to be done with certain people and certain things and the way you live your life. And it's a very difficult thing to turn your life around, to repent, to find redemption, to find salvation, to just be done with the insanity and the things that just destroy a person's life. And people will laugh when they hear this. They'll mock it. But when they go home at night, most of them are miserable. Oh, they'll lie and say that they're not. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. I hear some of my own colleagues, I love what I'm doing. No, you don't. You're just saying that because you want to, I'm just going to say, I got something. No, you're not. And I know they're not. You can't. I've been doing this too long. People, if they're really that enamored by kind of the way the legal profession has gone, they're sick in the head. Because real lawyers, I'm going to tell you something, the real advocates, the real lawyers will live and operate in truth. And you just don't have that many anymore. You just don't. Now, that's maybe a sad thing to say, may sound judgmental, but hey, that's an observation. It's an observation. If the justice system were truly just, there wouldn't be spin, there wouldn't be lies. But it's what it is. It's like the Roman Colosseum. To the victor go the spoils. Right or wrong, truth or lies, to the victor go the spoils. And so you're going to come to this crossroads if you're blessed, and you're going to be like, I'm done with this destruction in my life. Whether it's a person or maybe it's stupid stuff you're doing. I got to that point in my life where I was like, I couldn't take it anymore. It was like the pain was it was too much. I was done. I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't see a particular person anymore. I couldn't stay married anymore. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't take certain types of cases anymore. And you feel it. And then sometimes you just drive and you're like, man, I just want to enjoy the simple thing. I just want to go see the ocean. I want to feel the warmth of the sun on my face. And you look around and you're like, the world's just not the same. It's shifting. Something is on the horizon. There is a storm coming. And there is. There is. And people don't want to admit it. They want to mock it. They want to mock it. They want to laugh. Oh, that's not, it's been that way. No. Yeah, man's been evil since the fall of, Adam and Eve. I'll give you that. But as I've said 100 times, the only thing that has changed since like Cain and Abel is the technology with which we screw each other over. That's it. Human beings are the same crappy people they've been since man fell in the Garden of Eden. Okay. And I say man, that includes you women too. So, both sides of that spectrum. So maybe you're feeling done and just disconnecting, or you're disconnected and you're like, I'm disconnected from this and I'm done. Either way, you can put it in either order. But it's going to come upon you if you're blessed and you're smart. And if you awaken to the reality and the truth of what's going on in this world, because this is it. You're going to get one life. And then we're all going to appear in the great judgment. It's going to be ugly for some. It's going to be great for others. The issue is, where do you stand? Where are you disconnected, or where do you need to be disconnected? Where are you done, or where do you need to be done? See, these are the better questions. You have to ask yourself, where and from whom should I disconnect, and where and what entity, what person should I just be done with? Or maybe I should be done with eating sugar foods or drinking beer, or whatever it is. You got to figure it out, because you're not going to be able to sleep at night until you deal with it. Until you deal with the pain that's causing your life to go on destructive mode, you're not going to be able to sleep. And if you get to the point where you can, and your hearts are so blackened and hardened and stuff, like Pharaoh, read Exodus. It did not turn out well for him at the Red Sea. Okay, at the parting of the Red Sea, it just did not turn out well for his soldiers. So, where are you? Are you escaping the bondage, your Exodus, and heading toward the promised land? Or are you just stuck? You're like, I'm gonna turn around where it's comfortable, and my life's just gonna be destroyed. I'm gonna be a slave. Figure it out. Where do you need to be done, and what do you need to disconnect from, or from who? All right, this has been another episode of Escape the Legal Matrix with yours truly, Bryce Dyer, coming at you live from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of Fort Bragg, where every day men and women do what? They don a uniform and go wage war against the enemies that seek to destroy us and take away the very freedoms, honestly, no doubt about it, that we often take for granted. This is Bryce and Drake, and we are out of here.